What is going on, y'all? It's your man Mike Titan, the gaming savant, here with my co-host again, Mr. Bryan Greer. And today we have a very special and to us personally, semi-saddening day of breaking news for the Blitz. For y'all that know, yesterday Greg Hardy was given a 10-game suspension, and also the fallout with the Mavericks of two of their players being gone for the season. Bryan Greer, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing better than the Cowboys or Mavericks organizations are doing. It's kind of doomsday in Dallas because it seems that everything's falling apart. And I don't know if you got any pets or anything, but their heads might fall off if they're around because anything that's inside in the Dallas-Fort area seems to be going south.
Exactly. Exactly.
So yeah, it might also be your shot at becoming a point guard in the NBA, Mike. You know, the Mavericks seem to be looking for one right now. So if you're looking to go out there and get your dreams fulfilled, go ahead.
Yeah, they can do what they did was, what was that one receiver from Philadelphia they made a movie about? I forget.
Yeah, Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, well, Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah,
they can do one of those. Just the basketball version for the Mavericks since they're a little thin at point guard right now.
Right, just to make sure you give me 10% of that contract you get, because don't forget the little people like me.
We'll see what we can do.
Oh, okay. See how you really feel about it. All right, well, we'll go ahead and jump into the Rajon Rondo saga that's happened the last 24 hours. Unfortunately for you, if you're a Mavericks fan, came out yesterday that Rajon Rondo had an alleged back injury and that he is going to be out for the foreseeable future and will no longer be with the Mavericks. Rick Carlisle had a breaking news press conference saying that he will no longer be with the Mavericks, that Rajon Rondo will be getting a second opinion on his back injury, and that this is really just came out of nowhere. You know, that he knew at the halftime of Game 2 that Rajon Rondo was having a problem with his back, but I guess just continued to pay him for all of 36 seconds in the second half. So I don't know what this all came down to or whatever, but I'm not sure if this is all, on the up and up. I think that this is actually kind of, the stairwell somewhere. Maybe they're smoking a square or something, but they kind of came to an agreement that I think it's best that both sides just, go ahead and go their separate ways. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I would pretty much say this is probably the most diplomatic way that both the sides, Rajon Rondo and the Dallas Mavericks, can part ways. Reason I'm saying that, what I heard was the cause of this was like in the second quarter, he tried to take a charge from, I think, James Harden or somebody, and that's when his back first started hurting. Well, if this was the case, this probably would have been reported to the TNT reporters, the commentators would have been about it. There would have been more news. It just wouldn't have been all of a sudden it's like, oh, Rondo's out with a back injury. Pretty much what happened
this
is
was nothing before then.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. This just randomly came out yesterday. So pretty much what I think happened probably is what happened is that Rondo-ness finally fed up Carlisle and Cuban enough to where they're just like, all right, we know you don't want to be here. We know this system doesn't fit you. We're just going to go ahead and get rid of you for the rest of the season. Because pretty much he quit on the team. I mean, you can't really say no more than that. It's the fact is like he doesn't, just seem interested in being there. He had that 8-second violation, which I'm like, if you're a professional player in the National Basketball Association and you get an 8-second, granted, Tyson Chandler did kind of have to fend off people to get the rebound, but it's like you're just casually walking the ball up the court. And when I saw this, I was like, all right, it's all right, 8, okay, it's like, all right. And then he didn't even cross the half court line. And then after that play, everybody else, like Dirk and Tyson, was like, what the hell's going on? They inbound the ball and get Jet Terry for a quick 3, and Rondo's just standing there like, whatever. So after that, I was just totally convinced, it's like, all right, there's no way Rondo's coming back next year. I personally, I think this actually, in a kind of, weird way, helps the Mavericks. One, you don't have him in the locker room anymore. Two, you don't have him giving like 5% effort on the court, just barely enough to make it look like he's trying, even though he really isn't. I just think this is
basically got the elephant out of the room.
Yeah, pretty much. You know, they got the elephant out the room. They was like, all right, we know you don't want to be here, but we can't publicly say it because we're already down 2-0 and we don't need any more added, you know, media pressure and stuff like that. But like I said, I think this is probably the best diplomatic way that both sides could have came to an agreement. Just come up with a fake injury, be like, hey, his back's hurt. He's going to be out for the season. He's going to seek a second opinion and stuff like that. We'll go on with the rest of the series and you can go back home and figure out where you're going to play next year.
Yeah, I agree. And what makes it so incredible is, I don't know if you saw this morning, they said that he won't even be on the bench.
Oh, no. No, I knew that was coming. I was like, I knew that was coming. It's like,
that must be nice, you know. I'm gonna get paid, get tickets, you know, bags fly free on Southwest Airlines to go back home, and I don't even have to sell the bench.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So, you know, if the Mavericks make it, you know, further in the playoffs, you know, my wish now is for them to, you know, make a run to the finals and just see how that'll go, you know. Rajon Rondo doesn't even have to sell the bench or anything, but yet still getting paid, you know.
Exactly.
Living the American dream.
The wonders of those NBA contracts.
Right, exactly. I don't have to show up for work, but still get paid. Good salute to you, Rajon Rondo. But wherever you're going, I'm pretty sure that they're gonna have to deal with your Rondo this and everything else. Because in Dallas, we're excited to see you come, but happy to see you leave.
Exactly, and also another thing, because there's a rumor that he's supposed to be, that he's potentially, like, the Lakers are eyeing him. If you think playing for Carlisle and playing in this system, which actually is a very good system, and you could have flourished in, was bad, just remember that if you ever played with Kobe, just try remembering that.
Oh yeah. That will be a blockbuster reality TV series if that does happen, because I sure will have my popcorn to see that, because they could actually headline a WrestleMania next year. You know, those two guys. Because but Rondo thinks his back hurts now. Wait till he gets with Kobe. He's gonna need a backiotomy after that.
Yep, he gonna be out with turf toe 3 games into the season.
Right, exactly. You know, maybe he can get another deal where he can just, you know, go ahead and just be out for the season. You know, you did it once, then why not try it again?
Yeah, exactly.
So, but yeah, unfortunately, a little bit more bad news that the Mavericks had is that Chandler Parsons is going to have surgery on his knee that has been ailing him since the end of the season. And Rick Carlisle said he'd be surprised if he doesn't need surgery. So that was the only other player that the Mavericks had that could actually create his own shot besides Monta Ellis. And now this puts even more onus on Monta Ellis and Dirk to score. So this is a huge setback again, because they didn't get Chandler Parsons in here to just, you know, be a role player. He was going to be a facilitator, a main scorer for them. And this is really something that the Mavericks cannot have. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I totally agree with Chandler Parsons' injury, which we kind of already knew it was coming. He had injured his knee before the end of the regular season. He tried playing through it. Turns out it was actually way worse than what he was leading on. So I feel like it was good for him to go ahead and get this out the way so he can try and come back healthy next season. I do agree it does take away probably the Mavs 1A, 1B scoring option, because that's what he came in to be. We signed him to be, in technical sense, the successor to Dirk as far as, you know, team leader offenses goes. He's still young. He's only 25, so he still has a couple of years to grow into that role. But this year, we just needed him to be a consistent scorer and pretty much just an all-around stat sheet stuffer, which he kind of was playing like towards the end of the season. He kind of got his game together. He kind of found his rhythm with the offense. Like you said, this does take away another person who can create their own shot. Now the only person who can create their own shot for the most part on the team is Monta Ellis. Dirk, you know, Dirk is Dirk. He's going to do what he does, but he's still, mainly his scoring is going to be post up on the weak side or strong side against somebody else and fadeaway jumpers. That's just what Dirk does. But this is gonna affect the rotation, which means that Richard Jefferson's probably gonna have to start. Aminu's probably going to play a lot more minutes coming off the bench to guard James Harden and their other scorers. Charlie Villanueva will probably be looked at as a scorer from like a 12th man to being, you know, an integral part on the bench. Amari Stoudemire will have to probably play more minutes because I think he's only been averaging about 20, 25 maybe a game. So we'll have to look for him for low post scoring. This just kind of, I don't necessarily, it kind of messes up the lineup just because role players that we had specific roles for now have to have increased roles since we're down 2 players. And even though it pains me to say this, we're gonna have to rely on Raymond Felton either being our starting or backup point guard. I don't know if Carlisle's gonna go with Barea or Felton, Barea has actually played pretty well last game. Felton's been doing good. I've never been a big Raymond Felton fan. I've always hated him, even back in his
Raymond Felton
days.
didn't even know he was going to play as many minutes, so
yeah,
don't feel too bad, Mike.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm probably sure he was shocked.
Like Raymond Felton thought that. Yeah, I thought he thought he was going to get a sit a seat, get paid, and wave a towel, but he's been called into duty.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. These two, injuries just leave the Mavericks depleted, especially against a surging Houston team who, we really should be 1-1. Like in the fourth quarter, we were leading, and then they just went all, dunk contests on us in the latter minutes of the fourth quarter. But it's just gonna
NBA Jam.
Yeah, they went straight 98, 99 NBA Jam. I just think that this is just going to show how is one going to show how resilient this team is, and two is going to show how tactical Carlisle can be with the pieces that he has to try and come back and win this series in 6 or 7 games.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. This is really going to show his, coaching skills, how close his team really is, because now you got the elephant out of the room, Rajon Rondo. That Parsons is out. They're going to have to go full balls to the wall on game 3, because if they lose game 3, we all know this is over and everything. I know one player who's happy that Rajon Rondo's not playing. That's James Harden, because I don't know what they're going to do now. He has just been eating everybody's lunch so far, and he hasn't even shot the ball well, but he has lived at the free throw line. So, this is going to really show how much, they're really going to want it overall.
Yeah, most definitely. It'll definitely be interesting come game 3 to see how the Mavericks respond after all this.
Yeah, most definitely. So, yeah, I know you want to get into, unfortunately, even worse news. If you're a Cowboys fan, Greg Hardy.
Yeah, so it also came out yesterday, I believe the time was 3:05 p.m., that the NFL has suspended Greg Hardy for 10 games. Now, before I get into my whole little rant and statement about this, I by no means advocate or give Hardy a pass for anything he was allegedly accused of doing or did. As we all know, if you follow the situation, it was pretty much him and his girlfriend, ex-girlfriend, got into an argument, some stuff happened. Stuff like this happens all the time, especially in, with professional sports athletes. Things just get out of hand, got crazy, whatever. Probably just his bad choice in women. But that's neither here nor there. My whole thing is, with Greg Hardy for the NFL, the reason, or my reason, and hearing other people's thoughts, I kind of agree with them. The reason I feel the NFL gave Greg Hardy 10-game suspension, which he has appealed, so we don't even know if it's going to stick, is because sponsors were on the verge of pulling out from the NFL. The NFL doesn't, in my opinion, the NFL doesn't care morally what you do. You could probably, knock on wood, throw a baby off a roof. If doing that doesn't affect the NFL's money, you'll probably just get a slap on the wrist. If doing that has a whole bunch of baby advocates come after the NFL, you'll probably be banned for life. Now, I know that's probably an extreme, metaphor, but the thing about it is, like, this is Hardy's first offense. He's had no priors. He wasn't even convicted. And on the radio, I heard that pretty much the NFL put out a statement making it seem like if you would have read that statement, you would have thought, okay, he should be in jail for what he did, but he isn't, because the North Carolina court didn't convict him. They threw out the case, stuff like that. So how does the NFL make it seem like it's like, well, there's all these things, pictures that we saw, but the court didn't convict him, but the NFL kind of did. That's just my whole thing. Like I said, he's getting appealed. I feel like that depending on how the appeal goes, I think it'll drop to 6 games. I don't think it'll stick at 10, but I still think that's a bit harsh, especially when you have like Ray Rice, who I believe only got, 2 games, 4 games, something like that.
Yeah, 2 or 4 games. And this is a direct effect to Ray Rice, in my opinion.
Yeah, it is, because there was video of him. I guess because there's no actual... Well, no, it doesn't make sense, because there was video of him punching his wife in the face on the elevator, and he only got 2 games. There is no photo or video proof of Greg Hardy causing any harm to that young lady, and he still gets 10 games. So I don't know what it was. It's pretty much come down to the point now where Goodell has the power to do whatever he does, and whatever he sees fit. And if you do something detrimental to the NFL's pocketbooks, you can expect to get a very stiff punishment, even if it is your first time, even if you weren't convicted, even if what you were accused to be doing maybe didn't happen, and you know it didn't happen, and you're just trying your hardest to fight. The NFL don't care about, like, oh, you're about to cost us money. Let's go ahead and suspend you for 2/3 of the season.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I want to bring up a point I believe this has to do. What better way is it for the NFL to make up a point about domestic violence than to do it to the flagship franchise, the Dallas Cowboys? I don't believe if the team that was rumored also to sign Greg Hardy, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers signed Greg Hardy, that they would have gotten the same punishment.
No.
Doesn't have the same sizzle. I mean, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Dallas Cowboys, So giving Greg Hardy 10-game suspension, I think 4 of that is just being for the Dallas Cowboys, because like I say, people do not like the Cowboys. They love the Cowboys. That is a team that is polarizing, and everybody has an opinion on the Cowboys. So I think that was a harsher punishment because of that, because as we know, Jerry Jones, one of the biggest, franchise owners, as far as face of a franchise and everything, and for him to go out and sign Greg Hardy like that, and all the uproar it caused, I think that irritated, Roger Goodell. So he, slapped the Cowboys with an even bigger suspension. There's just no way you can convince me, because it's the Dallas Cowboys, that they didn't get a bigger, punishment for signing Greg Hardy.
Oh yeah, exactly. I definitely agree that him signing with the Cowboys was a factor into this. Also, another thing that I heard, that once I heard it kind of made sense. If this 10-game suspension sticks, Greg Hardy's first game would be on Thanksgiving against his former team, the Carolina Panthers. If you think about it like that, which I'm probably sure that was kind of a factor of why they gave him the 10-game suspension, because that's kind of much. If you think about it like this, you have people talking about, oh, he got 10-game suspension. Oh, he did this for domestic violence. And then you have him come back. And then you have him play on Thanksgiving, which everybody's watching football on Thanksgiving. Then you have him play his old team. Like, they're pretty much. What they're doing. The NFL. Yeah, the NFL knows what they're doing. They're pretty much setting up a media blitz for Thanksgiving that's gonna just take over everybody's timelines and feeds for probably that whole Thanksgiving week, maybe even the prior week before that. So they knew what they were doing when they gave him that 10-game suspension. They were like, you know what? Let's hold him out 10 games, have him come back and get his old team, and then we'll get all this publicity, all this money, all this, light shown on this situation. Just coming up like that.
Win on both sides. We get the pound of back from all the domestic violence, advocates and organizations, and also we'll get all the pats on the back from all the different NFL fans that are, hyping up this game and giving, this a lot of, attention about him playing against the Panthers, and the Panthers come back and shaking their finger at him.
Exactly. So. I don't know. As a personal Cowboys fan, I'm saddened to see this. I really hope that the appeal goes through and he gets 4-6 games at the most. But I don't know. I just think it's a bad thing, because in the eyes of the judicial system, he wasn't convicted. Now I know
what people are forgetting.
Yeah, in the eyes of in the eyes of the law, not the NFL. Forget the NFL. In the eyes of the law, the government. This man was not convicted of doing anything. Now, I know he probably paid her off to not come and do that. That's actually a very common occurrence when stuff like this happens with professional athletes. So I'm not really faulting him for that. I'm just saying, like, if he was really the monster that people, or the domestic violence activists were making him out to be, then he would have been caught. He would have been, guilty. He would have been convicted of his crime, but he wasn't. I just feel like that it's a little much to pretty much suspend him all of last year. Remember, I think he played maybe 1 or 2 games last year. One or two. Then he got cut by the Panthers. So he didn't play all of last year, maybe 1 or 2 games, and then you're suspending him for another 10 games this year on something that he allegedly did. I'm always at the thought of, if somebody did a crime and there was evidence that he did the crime and he got convicted, then fine, punish him. Like, for instance, Aaron Hernandez. There was tons of evidence that of his crime. So if he would have got off and came back to the NFL, I kind of would have had a problem with that, because there was video of him leaving his house, video of him coming back to his house with the gun, telling his girlfriend, hey, go throw this box. Like, there is so much evidence that, you know, I would have been highly surprised if he would have got off on that trial. Not to mention the fact that he had 2 other trials for murders that he was, you know, behind that one of Odin Lloyd. So that's what I'm talking about. It's like, there's a difference between being accused of something and having the proper evidence and being convicted with that evidence. And then there's another difference between being accused of something and having no evidence. Like, I could say, you know, I could say, for instance, like, Brian, my car is stolen. You stole my car. Like, all right, Mike, what evidence do you have? I don't know. I just think that you stole it. Oh, do you have any, you know, video of me? Do you have OnStar so you can show the car in my apartment? Like, no, I don't. Oh, okay. Well, then, you know, it's just stuff like that. That's all I'm saying.
That's right. Got away with it.
I mean, if you want an 04 Mazda, go ahead, have it. I need a new car anyways.
I hear you. Yeah, but you know, and the point I want to make up also about the situation with Greg Hardy is, you know, look at Adrian Peterson. There's photo evidence of him, you know, harming a baby, you know, his kid, and well, that's the way, you know, they do it in the South. That's the way, you know, that they're raised and everything, and we just turn our heads, you know, didn't get any kind of, you know, suspension or anything. He's right back in NFL. You know, it just shows you that it's all about, you know, public opinion and about sponsors. Well, sponsors aren't too, you know, upset about that. So, you know, we're not going to take a stand against that. You know, him making a baby actually bleed, you know, and everything, and they did nothing about that. So they're very hypocritical in the NFL, because if you are going to sit there and be against, you know, what Greg Hardy did, I think you need to take a stand also against Adrian Peterson, against a child that couldn't defend himself. And I don't care what that child did, he did not deserve that kind of punishment. Exactly.
So, once you I agree with that. As you know, we're from Dallas. Like, we grew up in the South. Like, I got beatings like that as a kid. Now, I never got beat to the point where there was lashes and bleeding on my back. I got beat close to it, but not to that point. See, my dad was smart. He was like, I'm gonna beat you into an inch of you bleeding, just so when you wake up the next day and move around, you're gonna feel the bumps, you're gonna feel the bruises, but you know, they ain't gonna be no visible marks. Exactly. So I do feel he went overboard on that. And then even you have, which this can probably play into like maybe racial faction stuff, when Big Ben had his thing with that one girl that he allegedly, you know, did whatever with. It's like, I don't even think he got anything for that, if I remember correctly.
No, he didn't. Well, they didn't go to trial because, you know, they talked it out.
Exactly.
You know, so before she even, you know, went to the authorities about that. So, and like I say, is that it's all about the court of public opinion, and the sponsors get upset. You know, it's not about what's morally right or morally wrong, as you said at the beginning. And I totally agree with you in that. And the NFL, they just make it up as they go along. Roger Goodell, just whatever falls where it may, that's what I do. I have no real guidelines on suspensions or what should be or shouldn't be done. He is just a, you know, dictator kind of commissioner, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. There's nobody else that has any say in these suspensions.
Exactly. Yeah, that's it's just with him, it's just a huge gray area. It's like somebody did something like, okay, we don't know if he's gonna be suspended, be banned, something like that. I don't know. It sucks because it happens to my Cowboys, but I guess we'll just see how the appeal goes, and hopefully some good will come out of it. But this past 24 hours has definitely been as you could say, a doomsday for Dallas in some sorts. On the bright side, the Rangers did beat the Diamondbacks, but they actually lost last night, so.
Yeah, well, you know, good job, Rangers. Good job on getting, you know, I don't know what wins you're at, but hopefully you win at least 70 this year.
Yeah, you know. Or you never know, they may make the playoffs, but you know, that's for another time.
yeah, it is, you know. But, oh well.
Man, you got any closing remarks before we get out of here?
Oh man, just hopefully that the Mavericks somehow rally behind this, and hopefully Jerry Jones use some of his power to, you know, get the Greg Hardy switch down a little bit, because we need all the help we can in Dallas. Because right now it's looking like we're almost at a emergency state of emergency level. So You know, be praying for you, Dallas kid. You know, keep your head up.
Yeah, hashtag pray for Dallas. We want to thank you guys for watching. Please make sure to comment, like, subscribe. I'm Mike Gort. That's my man, Bryan Greer. And we will see you guys next time. Peace.